The situation begins with the entry of the illusion of the misty cloud fighter. We see the main character, who wonders why he, a single mortal with a human body and a creature in front of him, he decides to smash him to pieces, hitting him with his fist and a ball of light comes out of it. The key character takes the ball of light and actually talks that it will definitely break. With the support of this photosphere, he then holds the ball of light in his fist and his spiritual forces become stronger, which by a period, a connoisseur of the Cloudy Kingdom is seen and finds out the main character, whether Wu Guan sent him to destroy his cloudy fighter. The key character refutes this and talks, in fact, that he has only just arrived and does not understand anything. The expert is angry and finds out how he got there, in case he doesn't find out Wu Guan. He then explains that Chen Hai's ancestor was actually a seal in the Forsaken God plane. The connoisseur urgently asks for a thorough comment in order to justify the innocence of the protagonist. At the moment he is doing visibility fighters with the support of their own aura and ask a question to the main hero, his name and section of the key hero. No decision is made. Explain what actually happened because he thinks that the expert will not believe him, and after that the key character is seen as Feng Shia, still known as the ruler of games due to his mobile gaming craze. However, he became negligent and while in the middle of the game, he crossed the key hero at one point, ending up in the rainforest, pursued by spiders and faced with other aggressive creatures. Ignoring all his efforts, he fails to escape and in the end he dies at the age 18. But Feng Shui arises and claims to be the key character and refuses to let the spiders destroy him. He triumphs over them and collects their attributes, explaining the various effects of each attribute. Writes and escapes from the spiders, but suddenly becomes hazy, and he wonders what actually happens. What period? The connoisseur, the favorite of the great action, blames Feng Shia for actually spoiling the event. However, Feng Shia is confused, like everyone else. Killed a number of spiders, the owner gets angry and explains how relevant the spiders were because they were the rarest dark ones, jade spiders, which he wanted to make and eat later, such as he had not eaten meat for 3,000 years. Feng Shia realizes that he met with a bewildered man and suddenly the expert orders his own cloud fighter to attack the little thing without any on a respectful basis and is attacked, ignoring the fact that Feng Shia actually manages to resume the presence of the spirit after absorbing the light. The first cloudy Feng Shia fighter realizes that the attacks of the second cloudy fighter are much weaker than the master. Orders his own cloudy fighter to attack Feng Shia. The ultimate thinks to attack both of them at the same time. Feng Shia rushes forward and yells, in fact, that I was invited by Feng Xia. I did not come from anyone. Sector, after which he successfully defeats the cloudy fighter, using his own recently acquired power after defeating the cloudy fighter. And pressing on the master with his own power, Feng Shia thanks the master for the task and is relieved, in fact, that he won something for a period. The connoisseur is impressed by the unusual power and intellectual power of Feng Shia, but is still weighing about committing suicide. Run away from the state of dreams and take revenge on Guang. However, the connoisseur hesitates in the mind of Feng Shui and does not to understand, in fact, that only Feng Shia has the opportunity to see the light of attributes. The connoisseur notes the proximity of Feng Shui and invites him to offer. He praises the unrealistic possibilities and intellectual power of Feng Shia and asks him to be his. The heir to the Feng Shia thinks that he, in fact, was tested and the immortal will teach him. He believes, in fact, that if he learns from the master, in fact that he has the ability to dominate the world. A connoisseur who introduces a technique called floating dream of 3 lives that make the soul indestructible and make it possible to create and enter dreams and recover. Feng Xia eagerly begged the master to teach him, and the connoisseur decides to teach him the flying dream of the third of life. He touches Fancius's forehead and sends him to sleep, telling him that he will wake up as soon as he understands this. Feng Shia, as it turned out, in a dream, and subsequently understanding this, he sees 12 floating fragments of a dream scroll about 3 lives, which he wonders if they have a time and what the property of light, and touches them, making them shine. The connoisseur demonstrates to Frank Kesha, in fact, what he deliberately left 12 defects in a dream in order to lure his own soul into a trap so that he could commit suicide. However, when Feng Xia wakes up skyward, he impresses the owner by being vigilant and intentional. The owner is puzzled by the data and wonders how Feng Shia managed to awaken Feng Shia, after which he smiles and talks to the master, in fact, that he understood the dream. When the connoisseur finds out we have understood, the Feng Shia explains, in fact, that the floating dream of 3 heresies contains 12 meanings and with any level of times. According to Feng Shia, it is possible to gain strong power by combining all 12 12 of these forces, it is possible to discover the path to freeze as a god. However, the connoisseur becomes skeptical when Feng Shia declares that he actually understood the meaning of sleep 12, meaning the connoisseur believes that the dream actually contains only 9 meanings and suspects that Feng Shia is actually trying to cheat him. In order to find out the Feng Shui understanding of the dream, the connoisseur decides to pay him a visit to his purple Feng Shia residence. Willingly agrees to the test, and the connoisseur puts his finger on Feng Shui's forehead, sending him back to sleep. This one connoisseur still enters the universe of dreams with Feng Ash. When Feng Shia realizes that he is actually located in the purple residence, he recognizes the master. As he plans to find out, we see the master thinking of the rare encounter with the purple house and wondering how an ordinary person had the opportunity to possess such strong spiritual energy. In fact, he wonders if the person living in the residence really understood something extraordinary. Then he turns his attention to Feng Shia and recognizes him, what he learned by encouraging him. Split by the master asks him to strike with his own best shot. The Feng Shia hesitates, explaining that, in fact, he has only just actually understood him and has not yet taken possession of him in such a way as to keep his power under control. The expert ironically demonstrates that, in fact, he is no longer in his own initial body and now in his own initial spirit. He says, in fact, that at the moment he is comparable to that who was in the 8th degree of the kingdom of the stage of Tao. The Shia master Frank reminds him that he is actually an elementary person with some unreal powers, and he doesn't have to worry about taking out his personal barbarian Azure Lotus, which impresses the master. After that, Feng Shia explodes his own aura, after which a smile is seen on his face. He talks to the master, in fact, that this is the power he understood. The smoke fills the air, and the Feng Shia will recognize the master where he has gone. The connoisseur stands behind him, reflecting on the topic of himself, in fact, that the avatar, which just actually destroyed the Fang of Exius, will be reborn for years. He decides to get a fresh avatar and as soon as possible to find out the depth of Feng Xia's capabilities. He approaches Feng Shia and talks to him. In fact, that he is right behind him. Feng Shia turns around and is amazed at how frisky the connoisseur is, since he, among other things, does not pay attention, in fact, that he goes behind him. The connoisseur recommends Feng Shia to use the most powerful personal move, for example, as the previous one was very weak. Feng Shia, feeling gratitude for the master's instruction, thinks that the expert is a good-natured person. However, the expert notes the fangs on his face and finds out why it looks disgusting. The connoisseur realizes what Feng Shia is actually trying than any other justify his expectations and decides to produce it further. Feng Shia enjoys a personal most powerful move and makes strong aura in his hand. He unleashes a personal most powerful Wei Barbarian Blue Lotus under the supervision of the master. From above, Feng Shia then repeats the movement 3 times, causing smoke to fill the air, after which he seeks out the master who got away from the attack and praises him for the fact that he managed to arrange it. The connoisseur decides that, in fact, he no longer has the ability to endure Feng Shui's behavior and decides to bore him with might. He puts his hand to Feng Shia's forehead and releases his own aura, but to his surprise, Feng Shia has the ability to absorb the master's primary spirit and reincarnate him into his personal. Connoisseur of spiritual energy is shocked by the data and amazed that Feng Shia has never been cultivated before. In order to arrange this, the connoisseur, struck by the power of Asia's Feng Shia turns around. He is extremely surprised when he sees the master and wonders how he became this small. Feng Shia asked the master a question. How did he become small? And the connoisseur accuses him of this. Feng Shia calms the master, but he does not have these thoughts in relation to him and boasts. With his own strong movements, the owner is angry and talks, in fact, that they return to the forest and he dimmed 3 of his own avatars that cause his strength to drop. He also mentions that he was actually kicked out of the purple residence and the dream state seems to have completely dispelled Feng Shia, and after that she asked her own owner if he had been checked, and his owner hit him on the head and declared that he actually had a Feng Shia. After that he tried to get away from his own owner, saying that, in fact, it was disgusting for him. 2 men in order to cuddle. However, he assured his own owner that, in fact, he did not check romantic emotions for him and actually that he loved ladies with long hair and lush breasts. The connoisseur expresses antipathy to the texts of Feng Shui. Feng Shia shows his own massive movements and asks for his own master's encouragement. However, the connoisseur warns Feng Shia, in order not to be very contemptuous, calling them jerks, while the monster girl watches them from behind. The will of Feng Shia's knowledge energy from the floating dream of 3 lives enraged a powerful being. At one point, the monster girl transforms into a human girl and starts approaching the Feng Shia and the owner. They hear roar and turn around to see the girl. Feng Shia is worried, seeing that the lady is actually seen. The connoisseur is extremely surprised to see how the monster is transformed into a human in the abandoned plane of the gods, where they were in the direction of 3,000 years, which the Feng Shia period is happy to see. The woman thinks, in fact, that their beloved dreams have been noticed, and they, in the end, have every chance of owning a personal commitment. However, a woman, at one point, he hits Feng Shia in the tummy, forcing them to fly to the master. Feng Shia calls the girl passionate, but the woman kicks them and talks, in fact, that you will die, Feng Shia. After that, she approaches the girl for ruthlessness and talks, in fact, that the family power pressure is wrong. Shia unleashes the Blue Lotus's own primordial power and warns the girl not to force him. However, in order to fight back, the woman also activated her own power and threatened that something bad would happen to him. Feng Shia understood that they were very strong for him and stood at a loss when the woman at one moment transformed into spider and released a net from its paws, leaving Feng Shia in shock and exclaiming about the net. Spider girl escapes the incident space screaming, "Just wait until I get stronger." Feng Shia wonders what she is actually plans to arrange and why she runs away. The expert explains that, quite likely, she wanted to avenge the spiders, of which Feng Shia was destroyed before, but then they realized that they were stronger than her. This was the instinct of monsters to escape. Feng Shia asked the master a question, what is actually happening at this time, and he gratifyingly gave an answer, in fact, that the supporter thrown by God, in the end, resumed opened. The expert talks Feng Shia, in fact, that under the highest top of the abandoned plane of God, there is a portal. It opens and 3 people come out of it. Once they exclaim, "This is an abandoned godly plane that we made it." Big older brother, another person, raises his eyes and talks, in fact, that ancient books did not make a mistake and, in fact, that the Lord did not allow. The plane really opens up any 3 and 600 years, he says, in fact, that the chance resurrect the plane. Autumn came a connoisseur. After that, he demonstrates that, in fact, others entered the plane, and Feng Shia finds out in case they are treasure hunters. The connoisseur pokes fun at the idea that the farmers actually come to this cursed and isolated space for Jewel calls them really meaningless. The connoisseur talks Feng Shia, in fact, that dark jade spiders are the only meaning baggage when it comes to living creatures, and in fact that their forefathers have not been able to eat beef for over 3,000 years. Is concerned that there is finally beef, and when the unusual find out if he is obliged to eat it, the owner insists that it is actually wonderful and tastes nothing like any sea lion crab. When fried after an hour, Feng Shia tries to meet and, struck by how well it inspires the master to remember what he actually said to him. In consequence of this, Feng Shia invites him to forget gods, an abandoned plane, due to the fact that it is rather deserted. But after that, a spider girl is seen and takes some meat from the master's hand, saying that, in fact, he cannot forget Feng. She was extremely surprised to see her again, for example quickly, and find out if she was guided by the following. Progress connoisseur is angry and fighting the girl for actually taking his food. The Feng Shia straightens him up and recognizes the girl, in fact, that she had an appearance when she said that the elder does not have the opportunity to quit. The woman replies that he was sealed there. The spider girl explains that a connoisseur has the opportunity to quit only in that case if the person who sealed him, or someone stronger than him, is removed by the press, which, in fact, will be demanded. A man who has become a god, Feng Shia, knows the master what the woman actually said and learns how to freeze the god master. Gets angry and talks, in fact, that Feng Shia does not understand what he is talking about. He explains that, in fact, including when he was in his own, the strongest, he was still far from such a thing. In order to be frozen by a god, Feng Shia would know that this was actually the divine bridge. The ruler of the kingdom gets annoyed and talks, in fact, that Feng Shia is not obliged to think about freezing to God if he, among other things, does not understand. About this, he explains that, in fact, the improvement is divided into 8 majestic spheres, in each of which it is more difficult to climb than. The last one is the Heavenly Bridge Kingdom, Divine Bridge Kingdom, Real Spirit Kingdom, Dharmic View Kingdom, Yongdan Kingdom, Spiritual Communication Kingdom of the Daoxin Kingdom, and the Connoisseur of the Simple Kingdom. Have a conversation. In fact, only a handful of people manage to freeze to God after the passage of thunderstorm tribulation at the end of the Kingdom of Heavenly Bridge. Feng Shia asked the master about the fact that the Kingdom of the Divine Bridge is quite powerful. The connoisseur talks, in fact, that this is not elementary enough, strong, but very strong, in fact, that he was invincible, not counting the Muguin. However, at the moment, the woman is attacking the master, and he is not able to defend himself due to the fact that he is actually sealed, the expert talks. Feng Shia, in fact, that the texts of the maiden are very ruthless. Feng Shia tries to cheer up the master afterwards, as he was saddened by him. The current situation, he actually tells him that you will be a god and that he will definitely help him out, the connoisseur thinks about this, but Spider Girl interrupts and criticizes Fang, yes, for the fact that he talks a lot afterwards, such as Spider Girl storms. The Fang with his own Feng Shia shark weapon manages to evade and calls the girl, saying that she is no longer pleasant in case she insists on fighting. The gun is then sent to the Menlays, one of the 3 people who passed through. The portal will find out with them, say thank you, I can go through a simple kingdom, in case he gets destiny from within. God's Forsaken Plane, the third person, wonders why Ling is different from a simple older brother, explains that the key goal of the trip is to guarantee one of the best future for the Thousand Plane. Autumn, however, a sharp tool gets into the task. The third person from the brothers warns him about the hidden weapons, however, the older brother tells them not to panic due to the fact that it's just a beach stick. Feng Shia realizes that these are people who came from outside the plane. They are astounded and amused by the talk of overcoming Mere Kingdom and sheltered. Once one of them is amazed why there are already other people in the plane, a woman with a blade suddenly attacks. The Spider Girl, once one of the Feng Shu brothers, warns her that the lady she attacks is considered to be a demon from Bayou. The clan, however, Ling ignores the warning and continues their own attack, calling the Spider Girl a cheeky imp for causing harm. Her older brother, the Spider Girl who was attacked by Ling's younger sister, Feng Shia, warns her, be careful, Ling's blade doesn't seem to have much of an effect on Spider Girl and her brothers on Spider Girl. That for a period, using the technique of the Bayou clan, Spider Girl appears as Yu Yonging and explains that, in fact, she's not a demoness. Feng Xia is shocked to ask if Zhu Yuming is actually a spider and wonders if they only dined on the actual spider beef. The connoisseur assures Feng Shia that this is all exactly the same, in fact, that drinking water, taking a bath, or something in this family. Lane tells his own older brother that Zhu Yonging, likewise, is considered a strong specialist among those who are located in a simple kingdom. The brother tells him not to worry and to allow him to overcome with the given. He takes out a personal most powerful blade and orients it towards Zhu Yuman, who exclaims in surprise. Link shears when his older brother tells him to destroy her. Ziying challenges him, asking him to demonstrate what he is actually capable of. The boy with the blade goes straight to Feng Shia and holds his personal sword, clinging to his neck, telling Zion that in fact, if she does not want him to hurt him, she is obliged to obediently fall into the chair of the Fang. However, he talks to the boy, in fact, that he is simply a visitor, while the younger brother is amazed at how his elder brother takes history under personal control. Ling insistently asks Zhu Yuning to surrender and receive her elder brother's sanction. Apologizes for his own dastardly ways, but won't stop until his Thousand Autumns plane wins. However, Zhu Yuning denies that she is actually a demon from the Bayou clan, but the boy shows that her external painting and clothes, all abilities substantiate her face. However, Fan Shia interrupts the confrontation with her older brother, who has the edge of the blade. He touches the blade on it and talks, in fact, that he doesn't understand what the problem with the Bay of the clan is, and after that he breaks the blade, moving his finger and talking, in fact, that he does not like it when the sword is pointed at him. The older brother is angry, but Feng Shia unleashes his own power, injuring this young man and causing him to fall to the ground. His sister Ling then invites him. However, Feng Shia realizes that, in fact, he does not have the ability to control his own power. In fact, that her photosphere as a rule is seen when he defeats the enemy, which in essence gives a light ball. After some time the elder brother appears and his brother inspects if he's okay. The older brother holds a personal broken blade and wonders how this could happen when was a present from its owner Zhu Yuden. After that he talks to him, in fact, that Fan Shia is stronger than her. The elder brother apologizes for his more premature behavior towards Feng Shia and finds out in which kingdom he is located in. Feng Shia shows his own owner a brick that shines and asks him to state which kingdom he has achieved. The expert explains that because Feng Shia has not yet discovered personal spiritual wheel, he is still a simple man. However, with this injection, it is possible to state with complete certainty that he had already achieved the value of Tao in terms of strength. The 3 were shocked to hear that Frank was actually demarcating the fact that he was actually the stepmaster of Tao. The realm connoisseur and Feng Shia were all the more stunned by the data and were unable to understand why practitioners in the Tao stage kingdom were kings. He expressed his disbelief and asked whether the powerless could. The chicken deserved to be the lord, wondering what actually happened to the world. However, Feng Shia understood that the eras had actually changed and 3,000 years was enough for an absolutely fresh culture to rise to popularity, but also for the fall of an integral. The Ling culture was yelling at everyone not to be fools, saying that the person in front of them was actually not in the Tao. The stage kingdom Ling's brother intervened, saying that, in fact, Ling had told him before that a Taoist theater practitioner must. There is something more than what the person actually holds in